Whether it's spiders, snakes, planes, or something else, we all have something that scares us. And our fears can become a problem if they're getting in the way of the thing that we want. Maybe we want to see the world, but we're too scared to get on a plane. Or maybe we really want and deserve a promotion at work, but we're too scared to ask our boss. So in this video, I'm going to talk about feeling scared and what that looks like, and then what we can do to feel more confident. So most of us probably have a pretty good idea about what feeling scared means, but just to be specific here, when I say feeling scared or anxious or afraid, well, those words can have slightly different nuances. When I'm talking about scared, I'm talking about often, maybe our eyes are opening wide, muscle tension, increased heart rate. Our thoughts might be going a mile a minute. We might be sweating and we might be breathing shallowly too. So why do we have anxiety and fear? Well, imagine that spider is sitting right here and right here on my chest. And imagine it's a super deadly spider, maybe like a black widow or something like that. And I just feel totally casual, calm, and relaxed. And that spider just chills there, and maybe it tickles a little bit, so I go to scratch it, and it bites me, and then I'm in serious, serious trouble. If we didn't have any anxiety or fear, we wouldn't try to get out of dangerous situations, and that would be a serious risk to our survival. So, in short, we have anxiety and fear to survive. It keeps us alive. And with that, whenever we're thinking about reducing anxiety or feeling less afraid of something, I think one of the first questions we need to ask is this something that I should be afraid of? Or is this something that could be dangerous to me if I weren't afraid of it? So, going down a dark alley at night, that's something not something I want to feel comfortable with doing because it's objectively a dangerous situation. And so I do want my heart rate to go up. I do want my muscles to be tense. I do want my mind to be jumping to worst case scenario when at 2 in the morning I notice a dark alley that I could walk down. That fear is actually going to help keep me alive. But assuming that our anxiety is not about something that's objectively dangerous, we might be noticing it and saying, hey, this is getting in the way of me achieving something, or this is a risk I want to take. I'm willing to accept this risk. And so I want to feel less anxious when approaching it. If that's the case, we might be asking ourselves, well, why don't I just feel less anxious about this thing? Like I've decided it's good for me. I've decided it's a risk I want to take. Why can't I just feel less anxious about it? So basically one way we can think about that is that there's a discrepancy between what we're thinking right now and what we think is a good idea right now and what we remember from previous experiences. So imagine you go to a grocery store and as you go in the front doors, a rat falls from the ceiling and bites you on the foot. And it gives you this horrible disease. You have to go to the hospital, whole thing. You get better, and the next day you go back to that same grocery store, and the exact same thing happens again. And the next week you go back to that grocery store, and the exact same thing happens again. And then you go to the hospital, go through, get a horrible disease, get better, and then the week later you go back to the same grocery store. And this happens like, imagine it happening 20 times. After the 20th time, I mean, hopefully you would have learned a little sooner, but imagine after the 20th time, you were deciding which grocery store you would go to, and you told yourself, I think this grocery store is safe to go to. They released a new press release saying that, all the rats had been exterminated. Your body or your memory is probably going to tell you, no, we don't want to go to that place. That's the place we got all those horrible rat bites and diseases from. I don't want to go back there. And me just telling myself, oh, it's safe to go there is probably not going to be enough to convince my memories and my body that I am actually safe. So, what can we do to bridge that gap between what I think is safe right now and my memories that are saying, no, it's not safe? Well, one option is exposure therapy, which is Basically, a fancy way of saying we need experiences of being exposed to the thing we fear. And during those fearful experiences, we need to be and feel safe. So, if we have those two things, then we can start to build new memories that say, hey, this thing is actually not dangerous. Maybe I don't need to hold on to all those memories that told me it was so dangerous. And of course, that's not going to change on the first time, but over time and continued exposure, continual good experiences, we can start to shift our beliefs about the thing that scared us and start to think, okay, maybe that grocery store really is safe. So let's imagine that I really want to go back to the rat infested grocery store. Maybe they have these like specialty cookies and they're the only place in town to get these cookies. So I gotta get back to going to that grocery store. And maybe we get some real legitimate information saying this grocery store cleaned up their rat problem, completely eliminated all the rats, and there's some like third party testing of that. So we have pretty good confidence that the store actually is safe again. But now we have this problem where even though I have good information that it's safe, I feel too scared to go there. Maybe I get to the parking lot and my heart starts racing, and so I turn my car around and just drive away. And then maybe later the thought of the grocery store is too scary, and so even before I get in the car, I turn around and go back to my home where I know it's safe. And three tips that can help us feel less afraid and more confident include taking small steps towards our goals. So we don't have to go jump straight to going to the grocery store, for example. We could start with you maybe thinking about the grocery store and then maybe getting in the car to go to the store, and so on, up until going to the grocery store. So that's tip number one is we can take steps. We don't have to jump into the scariest thing first. And then along the way, we're building confidence. The second tip is engaging in relaxation strategies along the way. So, we don't have to just white knuckle it and like grit our teeth and just like try and get through it while we're, on, our first step, second step. We can try some relaxation strategies. So maybe that involves some deep breaths. Maybe we're naming some things in the room. Whatever we need to do to help us feel a little bit more calm in the moment. And the third tip is rewarding ourselves as we complete each step. So, okay, great, I managed to get in the car to go to the store today. How am I going to reward myself for that? And it might be something really small. It might be, I'm going to go for a walk, which is something I like to do. Or I'm going to watch the show I like to watch, or I'm going to call a friend because that's something that I find enjoyable. Doesn't matter what it is, but it's good to celebrate each step along the way, and that's going to help us feel good about ourselves in the process and encourage us to take on the next step and the step after that too. So I hope you found this video helpful in understanding some of the anxieties you might be having and creating some ideas on ways to work through them. If you have found it helpful, please leave a like and let me know. Otherwise, thank you for watching and have a great day.